Hey y'all, what's up, squad? Welcome to Topless Talks with Nova, episode 13. Episode 13. We're rocking it. We're party rocking. It's October week 2. Really exciting stuff. We're gonna get super fun today. But first, how was your week? What did you do this week? First week of October. Did you do anything spooky? Did you go to a haunted house? Did you watch any scary movies? Did you eat candy? I feel like that's in the Halloween spirit as well. So if you ate some candy, I salute you. I certainly ate some candy this week. Peanut M&Ms are my current favorite. I say current favorite because whatever fucking mood I'm in, it kind of changes. Mambas usually are in the cycle there. Smarties are a pretty constant fave. So, if you were wondering what my favorite candy is, it's Smarties. Anyway, my week was really good. I stayed on my shit this week. Not a lot to report because I've just been working and doing my damn thing. You feel me? You feel me? You know those weeks where like it's kind of boring, but like in the good way. It's boring in the good way because I am on my bullshit, you know? I'm going to the gym. I'm working every day. I'm like feeling good about my schedule. I'm feeling good about what's going on right now. So we're good. We're good. It was a really good week. So I hope you had a good week too. Like I said, we're going to get kind of fun today because I have been really horny lately. I've been so incredibly horny. Don't ask me why. I don't know. So I was thinking we can kind of talk about some kinks today. Different kinks. I'm not going to go over all of them. There's no possible way that I could do that. But I'm going to go over some popular ones. And I'm going to add some of my own in there. And at the end, I want you to guess which ones mine are. Which I know some of you already know. So, okay. So, without further ado. Sorry, I don't usually talk like that. Anyway, so breeding kink basically is sex that could result in pregnancy. It doesn't necessarily mean that those who partake want to get pregnant. It just means that, you know, they like the risk, that they like the intimacy. You know, it's a kink. Cuckolding. I'm sure a lot of you know this as well. This is when you enjoy watching your partner have sex with someone else. And it's actually incredibly common. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be in a humiliating way. It could be in a sensual or loving way. There's a lot of different sub branches of cuckolding. Findom, which stands for financial domination. Basically, and these are all ones that I have done role plays of or partaken in myself. So basically, when the man or woman enjoys giving their card information or their bank information or, just basically the dom complete control of their wallet for whatever amount of time. It's really fun for me. Another one is a blackmailing fantasy, which I get a surprising amount. Basically, blackmail fantasy is potentially telling your loved ones a specific depravity that you have. And just the idea of me telling your wife, that we're having shows together or whatever. unless you do this, you know, unless you send me $500, I'm going to tell your wife that we're doing this right now. And people get off on that shit. It's fun for me too, because, you know, first of all, I enjoy pleasing, and I enjoy doing things that my clients like to do within reason, of course. But, you know, I also like being in control like that. Oops. Another common one is impact play, which is basically spanking, using paddles or things like that. It's important with these kinds of kinks and fetishes to have a safe word, because it's important that all of these acts are completely consensual, and that, you know, you don't go too far with it, because you know, like, obviously the point is to have fun. And when someone's not having fun, like, that's not fun anymore. You know? Another good one is the praise kink. This one's basically just like praising your lover, being aroused from being praised. Basically like, good girl, you're doing so good, you know? Or like cute pet names like princess or baby girl or etc. And with that one, it's like, obviously I like that. Who doesn't like that? Who doesn't like being praised, you know? That one, I feel like it's just like, oh, everyone likes that. Although, it's not true. I guess it's not true according to the ones that I'm about to go through. So the next one is voyeurism, which is watching someone, similar to cuckolding, watching someone engage in a sexual act. But the difference between cuckolding and voyeurism is voyeurism, the person engaging in the sexual act pretends that you're not there, like completely ignores you. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit of a voyeur. Not gonna lie, I think that shit's kind of hot. I like watching people, you know, masturbate or have sex in a way that's not like performative towards me. You know, I like watching them in their natural state. I like watching them as though they're like alone in a room. You know, I think that shit's hot. Oops. Fucking arrested me. Another good one is free use, which is, by definition, consent to allow sexual activity without need for explicit permission at every single instance. So think, I'm on the phone. This is a hypothetical. I've consented to free use. Say I'm on the phone and you just decide to stick your cock in my mouth. That would be within the bounds of free use. Or I'm playing a video game and you just want to fuck me while I'm playing the video game. That would be within the bounds of free use. It's similar to CNC, which I won't get into just because of the rules of the site. But it is different in the sense of like the ability to speak your boundaries versus not speaking your boundaries in the moment. Another one is anonymous sex, which means having sex with someone that you have no idea who it is. An example of that would be like a glory hole or, you know, something of that nature. Which, okay, I kind of had a fixation on glory holes. I've never been to one, but I kind of had a fixation on glory holes for, I don't know, like a couple of years. You know, I watched glory hole porn. I loved that shit. And so I looked up like glory holes near me. Obviously, like I haven't been to one, but I won't lie, I have looked it up. I know where they are. That's all I'll fucking say. That's all I'll say. Another one is cock worship, which a lot of men, I should say, I think have this fetish, have this kink. It's basically just verbal and physical adoration for your penis, you know? And I get requested for it a lot. It's honestly really fun to do because I have a lot to say. I have quite a bit to say. So it's fun, like, being, Because I'm a natural pleaser. You know, I am like a natural submissive. I love to please. I am a switch. But more naturally, I fall into, of course, it depends on who I'm having sex with or who I'm, partaking in sexual activity with. Because if they're more like a submissive nature, my dominance will definitely take over. But with most of the people that have had sex with in person, I've always usually slipped into that submissive nature. And so being able to like verbally say that as much as I want, it, I'm just a poet, I'm a lover girl poet. And some of the shit I say, I'm like, man, it needs to be published. Another one is DVP, not to be confused with DP, double penetration. DVP is double vaginal penetration, which I wouldn't even lie. Like, I would love it. I would absolutely adore that. I don't know if it would work, but I would love to try. Sorry, I told you I've been so horny this week, okay? Just ignore me. Another one is an obvious one, dirty talk, which I think cock worship would fall under the category of dirty talk. Also, so would like begging. A lot of people like that. A lot of people like begging. Also, JOI, which is like jerk off instruction, which is like, wasn't popular at first, but it's definitely made its like appearance in the industry. Like, at least in my experience, I never got requested for it ever. I got just like basic dirty talk requests, but within the last like 2 years, because I've been doing this for a long time, within the last 2 years, I've gotten so many JOI requests. You have no idea. It's like every other request that I do. Another one that kind of falls into like the dirty talk realm is CEI, which is cum eating instruction, which is another one that has kind of been on the rise a bit. And it's just like instructing on how you want them to eat their own cum, which it's really fun if they actually do it. It's really fun to watch. Next one is orgasm denial. So this is exactly what it sounds like, denying someone an orgasm altogether. It could also be like ruining their orgasm or like delaying their orgasm. So like, say you're jerking them off or whatever, you notice that they're just about to come and you just stop. You take your hands completely off. And you have to be familiar with the person because the timing has to be perfect. You can't take your hand off too soon because then, it won't happen. Which is another, edging is fun. Edging is fun too. Which I guess could fall under the category of orgasm denial. But yeah, you have to be super familiar with the person because you have to take them right to the edge, close enough to where they will still come when your hand comes off it. Sorry, there's lots of dirty talk in this episode. Woo! Sorry. And the last one I'm going to go over is femdom and or humiliation. Okay, so this is just like female domination. This is just when the female, cam girl or your partner or whatever is more dominant over you. This could include cuckolding. This could include, like a humiliation, like pet play or a small penis humiliation or just, penis humiliation in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be small. And just like degradation, things of that nature. You would be surprised at how popular femdom is with the leather and the whips and, cock and balls torture and forced intox. I won't get into that, but you can probably guess what that is. There's a lot of subcategories of femdom, but basically it's just letting a woman have complete control over you. Could also be, include findom as well, the one that I talked about earlier, financial domination. So, with this list, did I name any of your kinks? Did I name any of your fetishes? Also, which ones are mine? I did name off a couple that I do enjoy, but which ones are mine? If you guess correctly, I'll give you a virtual kiss. A big, sloppy one. I'll give you a big, sloppy, virtual kiss. So you better guess correctly. Okay, so I know that you didn't think that you would get away from this episode without just a little spooky topic to go over. It's October, dude, okay? It's October. So we're gonna talk about something spooky. And today, we're gonna talk about the origins of werewolves and where the legend came from originally. Where did it come from? We've seen it in media throughout the years, you know, and like we've seen many different versions of it. But for the most part, the modern werewolf is like a half man, half wolf, mostly wolf, or sometimes it turns to a full wolf, whatever. Transform on the full moon, usually weak to silver, bloodthirsty, can change other people. Bites are, you know, potentially could turn you. You know, these kinds of things. We've seen this repeating creature, legend, folklore, whatever you want to call it, in many different forms, all throughout media. So, I did some research. I did the research for you, team. You're welcome. So the first man-to-wolf transformation was in 2100 BC in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I don't know if you've heard of that. I had heard of it, but not in any extent. But that was the first recorded appearance of a transformation from man to wolf. Also, it appeared in ancient Greek and Rome texts, whether it be like poetic or philosophical texts. Also in Nordic folklore, this story where a father and son found pelts and discovered that it could turn man into wolf for 10 days. And in the story, the man actually ends up fatally injuring his son while they're wolves, and he doesn't end up dying, but it's a good read. It's actually a decent read. So lycanthropy, sorry. I looked up the pronunciation of that word because I'm like, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right. You know, I don't want to sound like an idiot for you on the podcast. So lycanthropy, which is the mythical transformation into a wolf from a man. It comes from a Greek story, an ancient Greek story, where Zeus turns King Lycaon. I'm butchering that. King Lycaon into a wolf as punishment for attempting to trick him into eating human entrails. So you can kind of see the theme of like bloodthirsty, like they hurt people, and you know, like it's all kind of negative. They're all cannibals or evil or strong, bloodthirsty, basically. And come to find out, Lycos means wolf in Greek. So early references of werewolves, like Christian references and things of the like, kind of linked werewolves and shapeshifting to any kind of like witchcraft, which is or was condemned at the time. But despite that, lycanthropy, like the idea of it survived all throughout like European Middle Ages. There are so many different like legends all throughout not only Europe, but like Russia and Asia, all over. So it's very interesting to see the stories from all over and from like the 1500s. There was even a writing from the 13th century that said, in England, we often see men change into wolves. Well, all I've got to say is, thank God they don't do that shit anymore. I don't know if they did actually for real, but thank God they don't do that shit no more. Because I do not. maybe it's like a reference to like men just being pieces of shits, or like men turning into rapists, or like men going crazy and like killing a bunch of people. Maybe. Who knows? So there are actually people in history that have been hanged and burned at the stake for being werewolves. So in 1521, a Frenchman named Pierre Burgot and Michel Verdun, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that, I may completely be butchering that, allegedly swore allegiance to the devil and claimed to have an ointment that turned them into wolves. It was later found out that they had brutally murdered several children, and I'm pretty sure ate them, and they were burned at the stake. Then later in 1573, Giles Garnier was also burned at the stake for being a werewolf. Don't remember where he was, but pretty sure he was also accused or found guilty of murdering and eating several people. So you can see the theme here, okay? But the most popular or the most influential story that I could find of a werewolf, in quotations, werewolf, is a 16th century farmer in Germany named Peter Stube. Hunters claim they saw him transform into a wolf. There were a lot of killings in this town in Germany, and he was accused of the crimes, and eventually, while he was being tortured, confessed to savagely killing and eating men, women, and children in the town. He claimed that he had a belt that could transform him into a wolf, but was obviously never found. The belt was never found. No surprise there. No surprise there. So where did the modern idea of the werewolf come from? You know, like the full moon, the silver, the transforming once a month or whatever. Where did that come from? It actually came from a movie from 1943 called Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. This is a sequel to 1941 The Wolfman, which gives us, the 1941 movie gives us most of the modern ideas of lycanthropy, like the silver and whatnot. But Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman in 1943 is the first movie to give us the full moon idea of only transforming on the full moon, which I find very interesting. Is like, this idea has only been around since 1943, at least as concrete as it is today, because there are suggestions of, like, the Epic of Gilgamesh had ideas of it on, like, of the wolf only transforming on full moon, and, you know, like, other folklore kind of suggesting that idea, but never concrete saying it was on the full moon. So it's interesting to me, like, how it's kind of transformed throughout history. And I just love that. I love that. I love finding a topic, just being, like, somewhat interesting, and then doing research and finding out that it's actually really fucking interesting. You know? How cool is that? And whether or not you guys find this interesting or not, you're still here listening, and I love you for that. I freaking love you for that. So, by the fucking way, guys, my podcast just hit 1,000 downloads. Woo! I cannot explain to you how fucking proud of you I am for that. I cannot even describe the level of gratitude that I feel from you guys, because of you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you so much. So much, you have no fucking idea, okay? Okay? I got, like, so close I thought I was gonna make out with a fucking mic. Just ignore me, okay? So, on to Come Counter. I did not prepare. For some reason, I completely zoned about the sex fact. I forgot that was even a thing that I did. So unfortunately, there's no sex fact this week. But we can go to the cum counter. And numbers aren't as good as last week. But I got 21. Some weeks can't be, in the 30s. Some weeks I can't be on my complete A game all the time, guys. Okay, I'm sorry, boss. But 21 I feel is still really good. Okay. That's what, like 3 a day? At least? Hell yeah. Average 3 a day. It doesn't necessarily mean I always get 3 every single day. Some days I think one day I got like 5 or 6, and then one day I got 0. So, fucking arrest me. I like to masturbate, okay? I mean, who doesn't like to masturbate, okay? Anyway, I hope you guys have a really great week. I hope you smash every goal that you have for yourself. I hope that you are smiling, and I hope that you are healthy, and I hope that you are staying true to yourself for the whole week. And you know what? Let's make this a weekly thing. Every week, at the end of my podcast, we will check in. Did you stay true to yourself this week? Were the decisions you made this week in alignment with who you are? Are you proud of the decisions you made? It doesn't necessarily mean that I want you to be down on yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that I want you to say mean things about yourself. But we can always say, maybe I could have done more within my abilities, because some weeks you have more energy and less energy. Stay true to that, but if you feel like, maybe I could have done this, or maybe I shouldn't have made that decision. Maybe that wasn't really in alignment with the life that I want to live. Let's just every week meet up and, fucking encourage each other. Okay? Okay. So was this week a week that you could be proud of? Would you be able to write home about this week? Would you be able to show your friends your diary from this week? I think that my diary would be way too horny to show my friends. I think that if my friends saw my diary from this week, they would be horrified at how much of a fucking horny monster I am. But otherwise, no shame. Even with that, there's no shame. But, just to spare my friends. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Please stay good. Or don't. That's fine too. But just remember that you're fucking amazing. And don't ever forget that. Bye.